This podcast is brought to you with the help of our sponsor, AWeber, the world's leading email marketing and automation provider. Since 1998, AWeber has helped more than 1 million entrepreneurs grow their businesses. Their suite of marketing, automation, and sales tools make it easy to connect with prospects and customers. If you're a team of one, AWeber is still the best option when it comes to marketing your business. The Accidental Entrepreneur is also brought to you through our affiliate relationships with the following sponsors. One of One Productions, the New Jersey-based podcast studio that produces and edits both audio and video podcasts. They sell equipment for the average podcaster and have even created a guesting kit exclusively for our listeners. North Authentic, the conscious hair care marketplace offering the cleanest brands from around the world. The Healthy Place, the e-commerce site with thousands of supplements to help you live a healthier life, along with natural solutions for chronic pain, stress, anxiety, depression, sleeplessness, and much, much more. And be sure to support the podcast by ordering some logo merchandise from our online store. Listen to all of our sponsors' commercials later in this episode and follow their links in the show notes to learn more about their products and services. Okay. I want to welcome everybody to another episode of the podcast. We got a very interesting special guest with us today. If you're watching on video, you'll see him sitting there. Brenden, glad to have you on the show. If you are listening to us on your favorite directory, be sure and give us a 5-star review wherever you can. And if you're watching us on YouTube, hit that like button, subscribe so we can keep bringing you good content. So without further ado, we'll get on with the show. Let's roll the opening music, and then we'll get into talking with Brenden.
The information provided in these episodes is for entertainment purposes only. It is not a guarantee of success or to be construed as advice of any kind. You should always seek advice from local licensed professionals before making any decisions.
The dictionary defines an entrepreneur as a person who organizes and manages any enterprise, especially a business, usually with considerable initiative and risk. People often start a business without much choice, perhaps due to a job loss or just being dissatisfied at work, and they come up with an idea they just know can be successful. They become entrepreneurs by accident. That is to say, their success or failure happens by accident, not with intention. My name is Mitch Beinhacker. I'm a corporate attorney and a business advisor. You're listening to The Accidental Entrepreneur, my podcast about how to achieve success on purpose, not by accident. Join me along with our monthly guests where we share our knowledge and help you get a hold of your business. And now on to today's episode. Okay, so my guest today, Brenden Kumarasamy, right?
You got it.
Good. Okay. Is the founder of MasterTalk. He coaches ambitious executives and entrepreneurs to become top 1% communicators in their industry. He also has a popular YouTube channel, probably more popular than my channel, called MasterTalk, with the goal of providing free access to communication tools for everyone in the world. Brenden, thank you for coming on the show. I think, how did we connect? Was it through Podmatch or through a booker? Podmatch, right?
Probably Podmatch, yeah.
Yeah, sounds good. All right, so, and I told you that I've had people with on-camera things and different stuff for entrepreneurs, but I think in today's digital world, we were talking about this off-camera, being your ability to speak goes a long way. That's why I like pre-interview the guests, just in case they're not going to make for, have on the mic and sound too good. So I'll let you take it away, but, go a little bit back into your background, how you get started and what led up to kind of what you're doing now.
For sure, Mitch. And unlike many of your guests, I'm a great definition of what an accidental entrepreneur looks like, because I literally I know everyone says that, but hey, I'm one of the pack. I never really wanted to be one, like at all. Yeah. Like I'm the only entrepreneur in my family currently. So it was never something that we saw as a path to success growing up. Like
black sheep. You're the black sheep of the family.
Yeah, or the brown sheep, I guess in my case.
Depends how you look at it.
Yeah. So for me, the goal, Mitch, funny enough, was to be an accountant. I wanted to be a CPA. So I went to business school to be an accountant, which is literally the opposite of what I do today.
Yeah, it's like not even fun.
It's like, yeah, it's not even close.
All accountants I know out there, but
There you go. So I'm studying to do my accounting degree, and which I graduated in, but I competed in case competitions while I was in school, Mitch. Think of case competitions like professional sports, but for nerds. So while other guys my age were like playing rugby or baseball or basketball or something, I wasn't really one of those guys. I did presentations competitively.
Like debate, that type of thing?
Sort of. So it's sort of like debate. So debate is where you have two topics at opposing ends.
Point, counterpoint, you got to win. Yeah.
Right. But in my case, it was more business executives from like Amazon or IBM or Deloitte. They spend a lot of money to sponsor these competitions. They give them case-specific, company-specific problems. So IBM's looking to jump into AI. How do they do it? So they give you a bunch of problems. And then as 20-year-olds, we solve those problems in a presentation. But the goal, obviously, is not to perfectly solve something in 3 hours. It's more for the executives to see who's sharp, so that they can give them job opportunities before the other companies pick them up.
Was it a competition about speaking, or was it a competition about problem solving? Like both.
So the answer is both. Okay. So I love that you're asking me, because most people don't care what a case competition is, so I'm glad you're mentioning it. So the top 5 teams, because the people who do this, think of it like this. I was a part of the world's largest case competition program, which is really bizarre. I was just in Montreal, where I happen to live.
Yeah, and until I met you, I've heard of a lot of stuff. Science of the mind, the Olympics of this and that. Never heard of case competition.
Right. So there's 8,000 students in my business faculty, and there's only 79 people who participate in case competition. So it's literally 1% of the faculty. So most of – go ahead.
Okay, you got to get chosen?
You got it. So you have to try out like a sports team to be a part of it. So most of my friends, they're not entrepreneurs. They went to work for Goldman Sachs. They went to investment banking. They became management consultants, which was also my goal, by the way. My dream was to work at McKinsey. It wasn't so I'm literally the opposite of what you would think an entrepreneur does. So I do these case competitions, Mitch. I get really good at them. Mm-hmm. And then as I got older, I started coaching the other students, not for money. I didn't know coaching was a profession. So I was just coaching them for free. And I didn't know how to coach. So I was just kind of making it up as I went.
Helping people. That's all it was.
Yeah, literally.
Right.
And then I just got really good. I got decent at it. And in my last semester of college, somebody gave me the idea for MasterTalk, because there isn't information available for free online on communication, which I found out later. So I just started making videos for fun while I was working as a management consultant at IBM. I was in the technology division there, consulting for clients in the Fortune 500. So I wasn't looking to be an entrepreneur.
Right.
But the YouTube channel blew up, and I realized there was
a video blog is the way it basically started, right?
Yeah, literally. In my mom's basement. I just took out a phone. I just started making videos.
No green screen or anything in the background?
No, literally. My first videos are still up there. So
yeah, nice. Okay. Do you know how many videos you got posted now? Like how many thousands of videos you made?
Total what we've created across all socials is probably in the thousands, but for YouTube, we're probably at video 250 now, 260.
So where are the other ones?
The other ones are on social, like the other socials, like Instagram we post every day, TikTok we post every day, LinkedIn we post every day. Yeah.
Okay, and it's like, you're doing TikTok too?
Yeah, we do TikTok, Instagram, LinkedIn, and YouTube.
15, 20 seconds, or else somebody's going to swipe past you if you do. Yeah, I was trying to figure that algorithm out. Whether it should apply to me, like, should I be on TikTok? I'm a lawyer, I don't know.
Why not?
All right. So it's a good story, though, because it wasn't like you were like, oh, I'm going to be a public speaker, and I went this and that, and I went to public speaking school. I always tell people, if they're not good speakers, find like a Toastmasters or, something in your area so you can get out of your comfort zone and look like an idiot without messing up in front of people where it matters. And get better at it, because a lot of people you speak to, and I'm sure you see this also. I was one, and they're talking to people that they know, and they're talking like that. So getting comfortable on mic or on camera or both, I guess, is something that kind of came like naturally to you, right? I mean, was it weird? Like, were you like, well, why is this easy for me, and other people get all flustered when they speak? Did you ever like ask yourself that? Like, why? I'm always curious about, why it just fits with some people and not other people.
For sure, Mitch. So for me, it was interesting where I actually thought I sucked at it most of my life. And there's a couple of reasons for that. Number one, I grew up in Montreal. For those who don't know, in Canada, Montreal is a city where you need to know how to speak French.
Okay.
Which is right. And it's a language I did not know.
Okay.
So my parents sent me to French school so I'd learn it, which means I had to present my whole life in a language I didn't know. Right?
Yeah.
So So I never thought I would be that great. The second thing you probably don't know about me is I have a physical disability in my left arm. It's crooked, which is you can't really tell on my social media.
Or did you have an accident or?
Yeah, it was like a birth accident. I was born upside down. They pulled me out of a vacuum. My left shoulder kind of dislocated in that process.
Oh, so you weren't really born that way. It happened during birth, and it's something
That's
you've
correct.
had to deal with all your life.
That's correct.
Okay.
So growing up, I never thought I was a great speaker because everyone wouldn't look at me when I was speaking. They would always look at my arm. So it always gave me a lot of anxiety. Yeah. And I became an accountant, dude. Like I wasn't looking to be a speaking.
That's like staying in your cubicle with glasses on and a little Band-Aid in the middle of your, for the rest of your life. Yeah.
So I had never thought I was a great speaker. It was case competitions that made me realize I was actually pretty talented at this, and that I could help other people because most of my skill set is earned. I didn't just was born with it. That's why I'm a big believer that anyone can be a great communicator.
Yeah, I agree. And you know what? Even participating in those kind of stuff, if you're not even at your level, right? You're not the best in the group, you're still going to increase your skills by tenfold just from getting out there and participating. A lot of people are afraid to even give it a try. I mean, just the experience of learning and getting better at it. Like you said, it's all learned skill. Nobody's born a public speaker. We can't even talk when we're born. We got to learn language. So
exactly, Mitch. That's why for me, it's always relative to industry, right? So let's say we take accountants. So if you're the accountant who's actually practicing your communication, yeah, you might not be Tony Robbins, but to the accounting world, you are Tony Robbins because you're just 10 times better than the average accountant at communication.
It's relative, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So how long, at what point did this start to be, you were like, oh my God, this is a business and I don't have to like work and do my other job anymore. When did that happen?
Right. So it actually took 2.5 years before I went full time on MasterTalk, but it took 9 months from the inception of the channel that I realized it was a business, not just a stupid thing in my basement making videos. So what happened was in September of 2019, 9 months into MasterTalk, Mitch, I went to Summit of Greatness, which is an event that Lewis Howes, the host of the School of Greatness podcast, hosts.
Okay.
I went to his event because I wanted to meet him. I'm a fan of his show. So I went to Columbus, Ohio, of all places.
I lived in Columbus, Ohio for 2 years.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
It's actually a really nice city.
It is a very nice city, yeah. You wouldn't even know, right? The middle of the Midwest. Yeah.
You know, when I flew in the first time.
Toronto, right? It's a short flight.
Yeah, it's a short flight. I'm in Montreal, so it's like a 2-way flight, unfortunately, to Ohio. But still, like, worth it. I thought I was going to land into a farm, honestly, and I went up and I was like, oh, this looks.
No, they have
like
a real airport and everything. Yeah,
that's great. So I get to Columbus and I meet my business partner there, Mitch, who's 20 years older than me.
Okay.
And his name's Vamsi. He's the CEO of Make More Leaders. He's a leadership coach.
Okay.
And he looked at me and he was like, you know, you could charge thousands of dollars to executives for coaching, right? And I looked at him and I said, come on, dude, I'm 23 years old. Who's going to pay me?
Yeah, he wasn't your business partner then.
No.
Oh, right. Okay. That's what I got. Right.
So I met him at that event.
Got it.
And then a day after, I got my first client. So at that event, one of the guys I was because I coach all the time. Coaching is just a hobby of mine. Okay. Even when I meet somebody, like if you meet me at a party, I'll start coaching you.
Yeah, because you enjoy sharing and helping and whatever. I understand. But how did you get your first? You said, oh, in a day I got my first client because he gave you the confidence to ask.
No, not even. He actually sold me on me coaching him. So what happened was, after those 3 days were over, he went back to Seattle. He left Amazon to start a real estate company that he's done very well since, but at the time he was really nervous about. And then he called me one day and he was like, hey, Brent, I just want you to coach me. I loved the advice you gave me. This is great. And I was like, sure, man, let's start on Monday. And he's like, how much do you charge? And I was like, what do you mean? You don't need to give me money. And he was like, no, I should give you money. And I fought back. I was like, no, I don't. What? What?
He's like twice your age.
No, not my first client. My first client was 28, but my average client today is double my age, yes.
I asked you to do that. This was another guy that you met. Okay, I lost that. Sorry. Okay.
Yeah, you're all good. It's a complex story.
28, you're 23. All right, that's not that much of a stretch. But he was like, oh, what's your fee? You're like, my fee is, I don't know, what? It's free.
It's free, literally. And he said, no, I really want to pay you for your time. He actually was selling me on me getting paid.
Teaching you free.
And I was like, what do you mean? I just listened to 700 episodes of Lewis's podcast. That's why I know everything about personal development. And he was like, yeah, that's why I'm paying you. Because I don't want to spend 700 hours
exactly
watching all that. I'd rather just book you for 7 hours so you can save me that time.
Right.
And I'll give you money for that.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, is $100 an hour okay? And he's like, yeah, I'll book 7 sessions. And he wired me $700. That was my first client.
And that was like, you were like, $700 an hour. That's ridiculous. I mean, $100 an hour. You're like, that's ridiculous. What'd you get? Like pie in the sky? You figured, whatever.
It was nuts. I was freaking out, honestly, because especially when you're Canadian, that's US dollars, right? So for me, that was like $1,000. Yeah. So I was like, oh, I just got paid $1,000 for giving people advice.
Yeah, right. Because the Canadian dollar was weak then, right? Against it's a little
still
bit
weak.
Now. It still got weaker. I was
0.76.
I was up there in Montreal for, I don't know, my cousin's bachelor party, something like that. And I get there, and I'd been to Canada before, and I go and I give him money to change to Canadian. Let's say it was $10. He gives me $8.65 back. I looked at him like, what is this? And the Canadian dollar was strong at the time. And I was like, oh, we're getting ripped off now. So everything's relative. But that's interesting. Okay, so then you were like, maybe I could do this? I mean, you were already coaching. It wasn't like you had to develop coaching styles or programs, right? You were already doing it.
So there was some part of the program that I had to develop later with Vomsi, but you're right for most part, Mitch. I was already really strong at delivery because I had coached so many people on how to speak. That's why I can make YouTube videos on it. But what I didn't know was the sales and marketing. I just didn't know people paid for it because I never hired a coach. Now I spend an arm and a leg on my coaches
because you believe in all the good coaches have coaches.
Yeah. And I can afford it now also, but back then I didn't really understand it. I just thought everyone was just coaching each other for free.
That's a great story.
Yeah. So what happened is I just got really lucky in some ways, Mitch, and skill set was others. Vomsi just was the best. Like he coached me for free. He just bet on me.
Yeah.
And today I pay him a pretty healthy retainer, but at the beginning, because he's my partner too.
Yeah, right.
But at the beginning, it was really, hey, I'll just serve you. And he just taught me a lot of things about the industry that I didn't know, that most people would charge you tens of thousands of dollars for. And one of it was just like, hey, I'll just introduce you to my ecosystem. You just work with any of my clients. And I just went, okay. So we literally built the program together. His strategy was, let's start by working with my clients as kids. He had like 20 or 25 clients already.
Okay.
So I started working with all of their kids. We charged them like $500 per person or something. And obviously, since I'm good at delivery, they all got crazy results. There was like 5-year-old kids who were speaking super well.
Ridiculous.
And the parents were like, okay, this kid's good. Like, I want to do work with them. And then Vomsi was like, yeah, and that'll be $3,000 per person. I was like,
of course.
I was like, what?
You didn't even blink, right?
Yeah. Now I don't even blink. Like,
no,
if someone
didn't blink. The parents were like, okay.
Oh yeah, they didn't even blink. They were like, yeah, whatever.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, I'm a big believer that you don't really like luck. I mean, luck is important, but I think a lot of it has to do with involvement and timing and being in the right place at the right time. Like you were out there, you went to hit this thing in Ohio for a reason because you wanted to learn and you were thirsty for this or that, and then things happen. Like if you play in traffic, you'll get hit. Like that's where you got to be. But if you're standing on the sidelines in a window watching the traffic go by, and nothing going to happen, right? So I'm a big believer. Like you make your own luck. I don't know if you agree with that, but that's kind of the way I feel.
I agree. I just think the analogy is a little bit weird, where it's like, well, I don't want to get into a car accident, but yeah, I see the point that you're trying.
Car accident though, that's where you go, right?
Let me give you a better analogy. Sorry to disagree a little bit.
I've been using that analogy forever, so give me a better one. I like
that.
Yeah,
so the president of Microsoft, I forgot what his name was. He appeared in Alex Benayan's The Third Door, a book called The Third Door. He said luck is like a bus that keeps coming. But if you don't have the fear to get on the bus, you can never get on the bus. And a lot of people, the bus keeps coming, but they never get on it, they don't see it, or they don't have enough money in their pocket to board it. Whereas the people who create their own luck, they see the bus coming, they have the money in their pocket to get on the bus, and they make it happen.
Yeah.
So that's the analogy.
That's a better story.
Yeah, just don't get hit in traffic, guys.
People getting hit by
Stay
cars.
safe.
Brains, yeah, not good. Okay, so when you were starting your business, like I understand, I'm sure you're going to say no, but you didn't like sit down and write a business plan. You were 20 years old and you're like coaching people. Did you start like developing like modules as you were talking to people? Did you have like an agenda, or did you just like, let's get on the phone and I'll tell you what to do?
Yeah, definitely. So the first 40, 50 clients, which were unpaid, it was me and a bunch of students, right? So I started winning case competitions, MVP this, first place this, second place this, whatever. And then the following year, I became one of the executives because it's a student-run program. And I just looked at the people we had chosen, because I became a part of the interview process where I chose with a group of people who got in and who didn't.
Right.
And then I looked at my team and I said, okay, guys, like we just brought in 80 really, really smart people, but 20 of them can't speak for their life. They're going to get crushed at these competitions. Yeah. And we don't have a communication coach, and I'm not a coach, but I said, let me just volunteer my time and just figure this out with them. So I would try a bunch of things on them, and what didn't work, they were honest about it, because they were just like, this doesn't work. So think of me like a mad scientist.
For you.
Just tried a bunch of things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was like an incubator for you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then later, that's why I think that's why I've been able to stand out in the industry, because I was so naive at the beginning that I wasn't following any rules. So I created my own recipes. So when it came time to start MasterTalk, the spark was two things. One, I'd listened to all the communication experts on Lewis's podcast, and I just felt I could do better. I was like, none of that makes sense. And then the other piece, because a lot of them are academics, they don't actually coach as a business.
Right.
And then I just started listening to the other people who are not my friends, so I'm not going to hit on them too much here. But at the beginning, when I was a little bit more ego-driven, I just watched them, and I was like, this is all wrong. Like, what do you know, PhD in communication? That's not how you got results for people. So that's what gave me the chutzpah to start it.
Interesting. But you're still doing a lot of the most successful people that I know who are entrepreneurs, right? They test and test and test. They test their clients. They test what they're using. They test their products, test their market. And you were kind of doing that anyway.
Oh yeah, I'm sure out of your show, I can pretty much guarantee I might not be the only accidental one, but I'm definitely the most risk averse one. Because I waited until the business was actually working at a very high level. Like I'd waited until I'd replaced at least 40 to 50% of my income, and then I jumped ship. And I had all my systems dialed in, and I replaced the whole income in like 90 days.
Yeah. Well, there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, a lot of people jump too soon. They're all in, and they believe, well, we got to be all in order to be successful. We had to be all, and then this stress and the lack of money and resources, and they don't make it.
Correct. And I still almost didn't make it, right? But for me, not making it doesn't mean like I'm bankrupt and I'm Elon Musk and I've lost hundreds of millions of dollars.
You go back and get a job, right?
I just go back to the job.
Right. The risk was you'd have to go back and get a job.
Yeah, it wasn't a big risk.
Right. It wasn't really that risk. Probably felt like it was, right? So
felt like it was.
That was at what age? It was 2019. 6 months later, by the way, the pandemic hit and the whole world shut down. But you could still work with people, even though they had nobody to talk to.
So I quit corporate in June of 21. So I was still employed at IBM as a consultant in Feb of 2020 when the pandemic hit. So what happened was we worked with – so all my coaching's online. So I never have to meet people in person. So the pandemic – unless they write me like a really big check, right, which usually scares them off, so they just
and then fly in on your private jet so you don't have to – yeah, you're like, listen, I'll come. Just send me first class, right?
Yeah, sure. Something like that. But anyways.
Time, though, we're using Zoom at that time. I didn't know what Zoom was, by the way, until the pandemic hit. I had a friend of mine who unfortunately passed away, Jack Killian, who's mentor, advisor, a big networking guy. And he was a McKinsey guy, actually. And he would coach, just like you did, people on networking, like executives and stuff in companies that would hire him. And he was telling me about the Zoom thing where there's people around the screen and everything. And I'm like, what the hell is that? Like, why'd you do that? He goes, see them. And then Zoom hit. So were you using Zoom? Was it a thing? Was it a product before the pandemic?
Definitely. But it wasn't like, so we had started doing Zoom calls, but remember, the reason I knew all of this was because Vamsi was teaching me all the mistakes he made, right? So he was already doing a business. So he didn't just go figure it out. He was like, this is how we run the program. We'll split it 50-50. So he really saw me as his business partner, which is really bizarre. I don't know why he did that. Well, it worked out for him in the end.
Yeah, he saw something in you. He's a coach too, right? I mean, that was his business, right?
Yes. So we have a unique relationship where, one, he's 20 years older than me. B is my 50-50 partner. And C is also a coach that I pay money to. And the fee for him is I give him half of my business, right? So that's really the idea. And it's worked out so well. I'm super grateful. So I skipped all the mistakes and I could quit. And I did so well in my first year of business because of him. But anyways, that's another thing. But the point is, you're right. So we had a Zoom product. Basically what he pushed me to do was group coaching, because before that I was just doing one-on-one. I was burning out. And he was like, just do a group. Just put 10 of them in it. And he gave me my first 10. after that first guy that I had as a client.
Got it.
So we put everybody in a group, and I didn't know how to do group coaching. That's the first time I did group. So to your point, there wasn't really a module and agenda. I was kind of figuring out as I went, like with the kids from all the group. And now that product that's called Communication Accelerator is like way better than at the beginning, because I'm doing like my 10th or 11th group now.
Yeah, I would hope that. Now, what kind of coaching did Vamsi do? You were doing communications and how to speak better and write and all those types of stuff, present yourself. What was he doing?
So in that specific ecosystem, he was letting me take the lead 80 to 90% of the time. I think he just liked being on the calls for energy. I guess he likes being around young people. It brings his energy up.
Right?
But most of his feedback was to me, not to the group. So he would, and also it's his clients, right? So he wants, because he still doesn't know me that well yet. He wants to make sure of leadership. So he has a program called Beyond Mastermind that I'm a client of.
Okay.
And it's like you try and achieve the impossible, basically. He pulls you to think bigger about your life. Like, I'll give you an example of what that means. So I'm having breakfast with them in our first month of me being coached by him. Okay. And he just asked me, like, what's your 20-year vision? And I was telling him, I'm going to quit my job eventually when I'm like 28, 29 years old. I'm probably going to start a business. I want to solve the water crisis. All this is going to happen in the next 20 years. And they just looked at me, drank his tea, and said, how do you do this in 6 months? Like, how are we quitting the job? And I was like, I'm not quitting the job. I'm making 6 figures, dude. Right. Why am I quitting the job? And yeah, man, I quit the job in 18 months. It was wild. And I still can't believe it, honestly.
Right. No, but I think sometimes people shift your paradigm. Like, you don't think it's possible. And then he says, we can do it 6 months. So 18 months, not so bad, right? You were going to do it in years.
Years. Like many years.
Yeah. But time has a, what's the word? I mean, you can't make up for time. Like, you give up 5 years of doing this stuff. So he was doing leadership, and you're doing all this communication, basically how to communicate better, how to speak better, how to present yourself, all that type of stuff. So what is it now? I mean, is it like a 10 module training thing, or is it set, or is it all coaching custom one-on-one?
Right. So now it's a mix of both.
Okay.
Mitch, so now the program has evolved to like a 12-week group coaching model where we train executives and CEOs. Basically what happened after kind of like the first 2 or 3 groups, when his word of mouth started running out because he had no clients to give me anymore, that it actually was good timing because I blew up on Clubhouse, which was like an app that was like relevant for like 3 months. No, it's kind of a dead platform now.
It was like nuts, crazy. For
it was nuts. Yeah. So I hit a tailwind. I went from like 0 to 20,000 followers on Clubhouse really quick. I was like I was in the 1,000th most followed accounts on the platform. It's pretty wild.
Really?
So yeah. So I signed like 3 or 5.
The celebrity.
Yeah, sort of. Not anymore. It's not relevant. Nobody cares about Clubhouse anymore. So I got 3 to 5 clients through there. And that became, because I'm so good at delivery. For me, even today, my problem is sales and marketing. It's not delivery. So then when we delivered for them, they just started telling their friends about me. And then I started filling up the groups myself through sales and marketing. I was like, I can do this too. And Vamsi's like, I know you could. So it's time for you. When are you quitting the job? So I quit in June of 2020. I almost went bankrupt, but we made it work.
It was right in the middle of the pandemic. Jeez.
Yeah, it was fun. Yeah.
Well, was work not that busy anyway because of the pandemic? Like, jobs had slowed down, or you were still busy?
No, we were really busy. You were really surprised. So, because actually we became more busy, which actually became really good for me, because more clients wanted tech implementations. Because now but the people who didn't want to switch to online, now they were forced to. Yeah. So I was leading like 3 SAP implementations at once, like 2 or 3.
That's true, right? The companies.
So I hated my life the last 6 months. But I love the company. They're a client of mine. They're great. But yeah,
that's really funny. So, I find it interesting that you have the comment you made about sales and marketing. So you feel that you're not good at sales and marketing, but that's usually 90% of that is communication, right? And your ability to present and things like that. So why do you say you're not good? You're not good at like finding the people, or?
Right. So let me be clear with what I mean. I'm not good. So I'm good enough to make money. Like, obviously I have a successful funnel and the business does well now and I'm not squirming for leads. Yeah. But it's more like, what's my bottleneck to the 7, the 8-figure level now in the business? Because what's nice about coaching is even if you do a few $100,000 a year, it's 90% margin, right? If you deliver all the work.
Yeah. Right. You have very little overhead.
Yeah, so the business does well, but it's more like what's stopping you from 7, and it's not delivery. It's not that, oh no, I have too many requests and I can't handle this. It's more that, yeah, we're signing a lot of clients, but I want to sign hundreds of clients, right, in a given year instead of just like 50 to 100 or something. Right. So that's the bottleneck for us.
You raise your, what do they call that, your minimum check size, and you get more comfortable with charging larger amounts of money, and you get higher quality. I don't know if that's true about people, but higher quality clients who are looking for, who value your service and are willing to, to pay for it. I'm not the most expensive attorney in my area, but I won't do things for, fees that I would do 15 years ago, because it just, I might as well spend my time looking for new clients that are, willing to pay the fees that I want to charge. And I think I'm worth after 30 years of practicing. But it took me a long time to become comfortable with that. I still have colleagues of mine who are even older than me, and they're charging, a couple $100 less an hour than I charge. And I'm like, well, what? I mean, you're way under market. Yeah, but I feel bad, charging my clients extra money. I go, well, do you feel bad about not giving your kids Christmas presents or feeding them at night or going on vacation? They're like, what do you mean? I go, well, you're giving your clients a break so you have less income for your family. It doesn't make any sense to me. And then they go out, they raise their fees, $25, whatever. Nobody blinks. And they're like, oh my God, I just increased my revenue by 10 or 15%. So,
yeah.
It's a question of just doing it, right?
Correct.
Okay, so why don't we do this? Why don't we take a commercial break? I actually have commercials we're going to roll. And then it's like 2 minutes. And then when we come back, maybe we could talk about advice for people, maybe some stories of people that you've helped or trends. You don't want to embarrass anybody, but trends that you have seen, that things that people do commonly that are like bad habits and stuff that you help them with. Can we do that?
Absolutely, Mitch.
All right. Let's see if this works. Let's go over to this and we'll do the commercial, and give me a thumbs up if you hear it.
Here's a word from our sponsors. Looking to promote and grow your business? Or perhaps you're just getting started and want to hit the ground running? Email marketing is a great place to start. You can earn $32 for every dollar spent. And AWeber is the best choice for email marketing and automation. From maintaining a subscriber list to building drip campaigns and landing pages, AWeber gives you the tools and integrations you need to make marketing effective and fun. As our partner and sponsor, we use all their tools to promote this podcast and market our law firm. If you think of yourself as a team of one, AWeber is still your best choice for an online marketing tool. Looking to get into podcasting? Maybe to market your business for your own enjoyment, or because you have a message you want to get out there. One of One Productions is a New Jersey-based studio just over the George Washington Bridge that caters to the booming business of podcasting. They offer a comfortable atmosphere using the latest technology available to record your podcast. And they are a full-service media company offering both audio and video production services, creating both audio and video podcasts as well as video shorts for business and personal use. Professional audio equipment packages are available through their website for all budgets, and be sure to check out their podcast guesting kit, created specially for our listeners. Do you battle chronic pain, stress, anxiety, or depression? Well, if you take any supplements or you're interested in natural alternatives, you need to know about FindYourHealthyPlace.com. Find Your Healthy Place has thousands of supplements to help you live a better quality of life, as well as natural solutions for chronic pain, stress, anxiety, depression, sleeplessness, and much, much more. Need guidance? Use their live chat feature and talk to a wellness consultant right on their website. And be sure to use our coupon code TAEPodcast for all your purchases to get the best prices at FindYourHealthyPlace.com. Follow their links in the show notes to learn more about all of our sponsors. And now back to our show.
All right, so we're back. Are you muted or are you on? Oh, okay. All right, so why don't we get into, I'd love to hear, stories, not just stories, but, things that you find that people regularly do wrong. It's just what are you doing? Those types of things.
Honestly, there's so many things to count, Mitch, but I'll get...
That's why we can fill some airtime. I want to hear all the good stuff.
Yeah, I'll give you the most important one, consistency. So let's say you want to work out. You want to lose some weight or something. Yeah. Not in your case, but let's say somebody listening.
Hey, I'm, I got a little beefcake going on here. I love
so you go to the gym.
So I feel better.
Right, you go to the gym and you go like, okay, what's my diet plan? How do I calorie count? What are some specific regimens? And the trainer just looks at you and goes, are you walking 50 minutes a day? And they go, no, why is that relevant to any of this?
Right.
So you get the idea. If you're not walking 50 minutes a day.
Like, why are you worrying about any of You're right. You're not even getting started.
You're not even getting started. So what does that look like in communication? It's just the challenge is in fitness, we know what to do. Walk more. Eat less bad things. Like just no more soft drinks, less coffee, less tea. Right. What does that look like in communication? So for me, communication is like juggling 18 balls at the same time, Mitch.
Okay.
One of those balls like eye contact, body language, storytelling. So for me, the simple idea here is what are the 3 easiest balls to juggle in the air? That's it. So if you juggle those 3, you'll be successful. Let's start with ball 1 as an example. Ball 1 is the random word exercise. Pick a word like light bulb, like picture, like chair, and create random presentations out of thin air. And this serves 2 purposes. One,
as an exercise, you're saying, as an exercise. Okay.
Yeah.
That's when everybody listening, they may not catch with that. So this is exercise number 1. Pick a word and make a random presentation.
That's correct.
Okay.
And it serves 2 purposes. One, it helps you deal with uncertainty. So let's say you're in the corporate world. If you can talk about avocados for 30 seconds, it's really easy for you to deal with anything at work. Trust me.
That's a good point.
Right. And the second piece is the life itself is uncertain. Like when you meet somebody at a party, you don't know how that conversation is going to go. You're not going to go up to that person and say, hey, here are the questions I want to ask you today.
Right.
Doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
And then the last part to the random word exercise is if you can make sense out of nonsense, you could make sense out of anything. So that's exercise 1.
Oh, that's very good. It's really funny because I obviously, I didn't give you like a list of questions coming on the podcast, but when I guest on a lot of podcasts, people do that. They like send me questions. What question do you want me? I'm like, can we just like talk about stuff? And, you ask me something that's interesting and I'll say, like I did before, wait, what were you doing? This and that. Because it's so like, I've been on podcasts where they're like taking the questions out, and I thought that was just like an example, and I'm not even prepared. Like I didn't prepare anything because I thought it was going to be like a normal conversation and an interview. And I think that is definitely, and I guess maybe you'll tell me it's like a crutch, right? People are nervous. They're doing the interview, so they figure if I got all the questions. I had a friend of mine. He's become a good friend of mine. And he called me, I think it's like twice my age, or certainly older, and he would call me like every week as the podcast was getting closer. He'd send me those questions. What questions we could talk about? I'm really nervous. And I go, just chill out. I promise you it's going to, and it did, worked out great. But he was so nervous. He wanted to know the questions ahead of time, probably because in his business, I don't know, maybe he gets that and he's prepared for that. So it's funny that that's the first thing you mentioned. Okay,
that's
good.
Exactly it.
We're learning already.
Yes, that's 1.
Right.
Number 2, which actually plays into the questions part really well, is called the question drill.
Okay.
So to your point, Mitch, a lot of us are reactive when we get asked questions all the time, at work, at school, on a podcast. But most of us are reactive, not proactive. So I'll give you an example with me a few years ago. When I started guesting, I remember some guy asked me, where does the fear of communication come from? And I looked at him and I was like, dude, I don't know, man. Los Angeles? New York City?
Yeah. The Greek
Miami.
Empire?
Yeah, the Greek Empire. So what did I do to fix this? Obviously didn't know the answer. So every day for 5 minutes, I just answered one question about communication until I had an answer for everything. So for podcasts, you're right. It's important to be authentic and stuff. But for like a sales prospect call, when you're in a big business meeting and you get asked a question, you got to make sure most of the time you need to have the answer to the question so that you have some credibility. Yeah. And the question drill helps you alleviate that anxiety.
So like in your business, you should come up with whatever you do for a living, right? You should come up with like, keep asking yourself questions that other people you think are going to ask you and just keep answering them.
Yes. And then the other layer to that to make it easier for people, for my social butterflies, is to ask your audience, ask your clients, what are the main questions you want to ask me about my own field? That's what I did. I don't really come with these questions. My clients and my audience just gives me a huge batch of questions, and I sift through them. And the podcast host gives me a ton of questions too. So that's how I practice it.
That's good advice. I mean, why not? You should be asking your clients about what they want anyway. So get them from your clients. Don't make it harder on yourself than you have to be. Okay, good. All right, so we got 2 drills. Keep me busy after this. I'm going to have to go practice. Yeah.
The number 3, the last drill, it's probably something you've talked about in the past. It's just sending video messages to people that you love. Pick 3 people you love the most in your life and send them a little 20-second video message. Don't overthink it. Just say, hey, Mitch, I really appreciate having you in my life. Super grateful. Love how accidentally you started this Accidental Entrepreneur podcast. It's really good. Hope you're having a great day. That's it.
And then I'm like, why did Brenden just send me a freaking weird video? Like, what's going on with that, right?
But you know what's great about that? Even if you think it's weird, you'll never forget me.
I was going to say that. It's memorable.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'll tell you something I do super crazy in my business. Okay, I take this to a whole other level. I have a CRM. I top my 100 promoters and clients. So promoters are people who bring me leads and stuff.
Yeah.
And I have their birthdays.
Sorry,
go ahead.
Champions for your cause. People that really get it.
Yeah, people that get it, who share my free trade with a lot of their friends. So I have their birthdays on my Google Calendar, and on their birthday, I put a stupid birthday hat on that I bought for $10. I open my video, and I just go, guess whose birthday it is? It's yours. I hope you're having a great day, and I'm really grateful for you. And I'm the only human being that I know of who does that with a stupid birthday hat on.
About it. Everyone else goes on LinkedIn and says, happy birthday,
happy birthday, in a text, in a stupid text.
No, you don't have to do that. It gives you like the choice. You just click a button, and it adds. Now it's like a suggestion, you know? Yeah, but of course. But that's all about not only keeping in touch with staying top of mind, keeping in touch. Now, you know, it's memorable, and it yeah, that's smart. I have some on my calendar, not everybody. So I'm going to have to get a stupid hat or something. So
there you go.
A virtual hat, like it'll pop on your head during the video, or
just buy a hat. It's like $10. You want me to send you one? Are you?
Is a lot for a birthday.
Is this hard for you?
What kind of birthday hat costs $10?
No, but this is not like a cardboard birthday hat, because if the cardboard is just gonna, this is like a nice. There's like candles on top of it.
Oh, candles!
Yeah, it's.
Does it light on fire? Does it have like?
No, it doesn't.
I mean, for $10, I would think things would shoot out of the top of it. Okay. I mean, that's pretty funny. All right, so be memorable. That's the lesson there, right?
You got it.
Be memorable. Okay. So,
and
anybody do anything like nutso? Like you met somebody, you're like, oh my God, this guy has like a habit like I can't even fix. I want to know, like, what are bad habits of people when it comes to communication? Besides, like, with those we know. Anything like, you know, people like, you know, picking their ears or things like that. I don't know. Are they? Well,
honestly, the biggest habit, Mitch, is somebody who's not willing to change, if I'm being honest. So we'll point out okay, you're speaking too quickly, you're too slow, you're not looking at the camera. But the worst habit is not that, because people make mistakes. I'm sure I've made a bunch of mistakes on this podcast. But it's more about saying, like, when somebody brings it up, what's your attitude towards it? Is like, I don't care, I already know everything. Well, those people aren't very successful.
Yeah, but we have an attitude towards people that just turns other people off.
Exactly.
Right. All right. So what is like up for you next? What are you doing? What are your plans? How are you growing? How can people connect with you and follow what you're doing, interact with you, that type of stuff?
For sure, Mitch. So 2 ways to keep in touch, and I'll talk about what's next.
Okay.
Is number 1 is MasterTalk, the YouTube channel. Just go to MasterTalk.
MasterTalk with an S?
Without an S. So the reason there's an S in my URL is because I couldn't get MasterTalk. Some guy created – he did trademark MasterTalk, thankfully for me. So I have the trademark. But he started some random YouTube. It has nothing to do with communication 10 years ago.
Buy it from him or something?
I thought about it, but I was like, is it really worth spending the money?
Maybe not.
Like I was looking at communication.com because it just got up for sale, and it's $800,000. Like, bro. Like,
well, communication.com would be a lot of money. I'm not surprised.
You're right.
Yeah.
So
the show notes too. Someday I'll figure out how to get like a graphic under your face that shows up and says MasterTalk, but I don't know how to do that because it's your camera, not mine. I don't have control over it, so we'll figure that out. But okay, so that's one way to get a hold of you. We'll put it in the show notes. Are you on social? All kinds of stuff. Instagram, right?
And then the second way to keep in touch that we bring people to is I do a free workshop for the community on communication that's free over Zoom. We had one today. There was 85 people who showed up today to our free trainings.
Thing.
Yeah, it's live. It's live.
Okay.
So I do it every 2 weeks. Now it's gotten pretty big. Now there's like 80, 85 people on that call. Some of them are 8 years old. Some of them are CEOs of like billion-dollar companies. So everyone is different. It's a party. And you can go to rockstarcommunicator.com if you want to jump in on that.
And is that an interactive type of thing, or are they just really listening to you?
No, it's actually interactive. So what we do, it might change if I get like 300 people on the call. Right now, so 85, I could still interact because it's still with Zoom. So I get like 10 of them to share. Obviously, we can't get all 85 to share 90 minutes, but yeah, we get people to.
Do the little kids share at all? Do the little kids?
No, the little kids more stay. They keep their camera off and they're just listening with their parent or something.
Right. That's cool. When did you start doing that?
The trainings?
The free, the free live.
Like 12 months ago.
Okay.
Yeah, it's been well.
Just to be able to share and to connect with more people. Yeah,
it worked really well because one, it made us the most generous communication company in the world because nobody does this in perpetuity, and two, 5% of them just become clients, and they don't come from like a podcast. Like my clients who are already paying me, they refer their buddies to come to that training, and then they just go, yeah, I know you're working with my friend.
Yeah, check it out, and then like test drive type of thing.
Yeah.
All right. Then you were getting into like what you're doing next and what you got coming up, right?
Yeah, I would say next to keep it really simple is really just scaling. I've been very fortunate, Mitch, where I made the business work, and now it's really just about how do we bring it to the next level, scale the social, scale the number of clients, and that's the big word for 2023. Let's see how far I get.
Now, are you going to grow the business from a personnel standpoint, meaning like you don't want to be the only person doing the coaching for the rest of your life because then it's all dependent on you. You can't take a break. People need you all the time. Is it something you teach other people to do?
Yeah, so there's different perspectives. I might do it in like 5-10 years, but I would say until we're doing at least $2-3 million a year, it's going to be really easy for me to facilitate all of it because I have the energy for it. Just to give you an idea, yesterday I did 10 podcast interviews in a row.
10? How long?
Yeah, in a row. An hour each. I'm pretty mental. So my stamina is really high because I'm still in my 20s, right?
I was going to say, when you're my age, you want to have stamina like that.
Yeah, well, we'll see. I'll bet you. I think it can match Gary Vee when I'm his age. But,
right.
So for me, it's a little bit different because I really love coaching, and the one thing, because this is my talent. So if I work, because it takes me 10 times more effort to sign a client than deliver for it. So there's no way I'm going to delegate delivery to somebody else that I know won't deliver the quality of service I do, because the word of mouth is what's driving my business, not like 70%.
Right, yeah.
So it's only after the business has scaled massively, where I'm doing like multiple 7, then I will delegate to other coaches, and I'll generally only pick people who have been through my programs.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Tony Robbins does that. You got to go through his program first. Now, you didn't do any walk on fire with people, right? When you haven't made people walk over fire or anything like that to get out of that.
No, but I have walked on fire. I did his program. Oh yeah, Tony's great. I learned a lot.
Oh man. All right. So I appreciate coming on, taking the time, and I love your energy, and I'm glad we connected. And I think that, the message today is that, even as a business owner, even as a local entrepreneur, even as a person who's not on Zoom, that, the way you communicate, what you say and how you say it is important, very important. And they don't realize the impact that it has on other people. And why am I not selling? Why am I not closing? Because there's something you're doing, body language, how you speak, what you say, how you do it, that is just hitting people the wrong way, turning them off, I guess, right, is the word. And I guess you help them explore that, or at least improve their skills.
Absolutely. Like for me, the question has always been, as you scale your business, are your communication skills scaling with the business? That's why I always ask entrepreneurs. And a lot of people, they don't scale their communication skills. So when they're doing bigger numbers, their communication isn't efficient. So when they start delegating to other people, the employee just goes, huh, what did you say? And
right.
It just creates a lot of problems.
It's good advice. Very good advice. Well, Brenden, I can't thank you enough. We've been now doing this for, I don't know, coming on 50 minutes. You probably have another 12 podcasts you have to go on for the rest of the day. You do? You have another one after this?
No, it's more, I have one more podcast, and then I have 3 one-on-one coaching clients.
Yeah, well, it's still light out, so good. I appreciate your energy. Friday afternoons after this, I wrap it up and we're done. So
it's okay. You're in a different stage of life, Mitch, than I am.
Yes, I shouldn't be, but I am. I do appreciate it. I'm going to put on the closing notes and then stick around, and we'll catch up after I turn the recording off.
For sure, Mitch. Thanks so much.
Thank you for listening to this episode of The Accidental Entrepreneur. Opening and closing music written and performed by Howie Moskovich and made to order music. For more information about Howie and his music services, please follow the link in our show notes. If you like the podcast, please tell others about us. You can find us on Apple Podcasts, on Google Podcasts, on Amazon Music, Spotify, and most of the other podcast directories. If you like what you hear, please leave us a 5-star review and feel free to share our episodes on social media. If you have any questions or comments, ideas for the show, or you'd even like to appear as a guest, reach out to us by email at info@beinhackerlaw.com. The Accidental Entrepreneur is hosted by Mitch Beinhacker and produced by Beinhacker Law. If you'd like to learn more about our business and legal services, you can find us on social media or visit our website at beinhackerlaw.com. Thanks for listening. Be sure to subscribe to our feed to be notified of all future episodes.